Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan and I'm here to bring you another FPL video for the Fantasy Premier League season 2022-23. So in this video I'm going to be looking at alternatives to David Raya as he's looking more and more uncertain to stay at Brentford for this season. We're going to be looking at 5 alternatives at the same price point of 4.5 million and discussing the statistics of those options. So let's jump into our first goalkeeper on the list here of Robert Sanchez from Brighton. So a couple of things to note in terms of statistics in front of us here. Same goes for all the future keepers I'll be showing as well in the video. 14.1% ownership at time of recording and a very respectable 126 points total from last season. All the statistics here for these goalkeepers are based on this season or a season in which they played. So the points per start for Sanchez was 3.4. The value coming in at a respectable 28. He had 11 clean sheets last season with a total of 103 saves, resulting in a 73.2% save percentage. So very, very respectable figures, which to be honest, I didn't look at these statistics prior to making him essentially my second choice and why I mentioned him in my my team selection video. I think he is just... Brighton do look like a great outfit. They have lost, of course, Yves Bissouma to Tottenham this season, though, so I'll be interested to see on what their statistics look like without him in that holding midfielder role. But essentially, I think that he's a great option. Bar the Manchester United fixture in the first game week, his fixtures in the first 5 overall do look also pretty favourable. So I can definitely see why he's 14.1% owned currently, and I do expect if Raya does move away, that probably to jump up to the 20% mark, if not more. So yeah, he's definitely, I think, my second choice or first choice if Raya does go. So moving on to the next goalkeeper, we have Guaita of Crystal Palace. Now, I think really I've only put him here really as just a direct comparison, as he is only 1.9% owned, and I think he is justified at that because of the fixtures. The first 5 fixtures for Crystal Palace look incredibly difficult. They're playing 3 of the top 6 teams in Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City respectively. That being said, though, across the whole season, of course, it does eventually balance out. All teams play each other, so of course there's going to be bad fixtures for the other goalies as well. But it constituted to 119 total points for Guaita last season, with a points per start of 4, so a little bit higher than Sanchez overall, and coming in at a 26.4 value mark, equaling the 11 clean sheets of Brighton, and with a lower total save contribution, as well as a very similar save percentage of 72.9. So Palace definitely, I think, in terms of a defensive outfit, with the XG conceded there, it is lower than Brighton overall. Guaita is tested a lot less, which is why the saves are a lot less. And essentially he scored 7 points overall less than Sanchez. So I think he's one to possibly look at in the future, maybe when there is a fixture swing or an obvious fixture swing for Palace. But I think in terms of game week 1 to 5, he's pretty much an avoid for me at this stage. So moving into the third alternative option here of Jordan Pickford. He's currently sitting at 6.1% ownership. I can kind of see why as well, based on the fixtures here. Once they get past that difficult Chelsea fixture in the first game week, the Villa, Forest, Brentford and Leeds games do look promising for them. One thing I would say, though, is that the overall kind of stats for Everton as a team were not too great last season. They were conceding a lot of chances, which resulted in a lot of conceded goals and meant that Jordan could only keep 7 clean sheets overall. It did also mean he faced a lot of shots, and that meant he totaled 118 saves last season, which was then a 62.7% save percentage. So not very good at all, really. He's a whole 10% lower than Guaita and Sanchez realistically. So a little bit difficult to consider him. But at 6.1% ownership, I think people are maybe taking the gamble on him, where he does have something to prove to Gareth Southgate. Although he is arguably his number 1 choice for the World Cup, he's going to need to essentially pull his finger out and really start making those clean sheets count, and keeping Everton afloat and above water this season. So I think he is one to consider, but I think I prefer other options. So we're going into the next option here of I believe it's Meslier of Leeds. Yeah, so we have a 2.7% ownership at time of recording currently. I had a viewer mention on the previous video that he's got him in his draft. I do think the Leeds fixtures do look pretty promising. I think even if he was looking at say game week 6, 7, 8 wild card before the World Cup, he could easily score you say 40, 50 points in that time frame. My problem with Leeds really is now they've lost Calvin Phillips to Manchester City. I do think he was, from an eye test perspective at least, I haven't checked the stats on what it was like with and without him in terms of goals conceded, but I think he essentially was that barrier, that protection as a holding midfielder for them that they are going to sorely miss this season. So we'll see how the pre-season plays out for sure for this team, as I do think the fixtures are favourable. And to be fair, in terms of the total points scored, he wasn't really that far away. So we had Guaita coming in at 119, Meslier is 106. It's not too bad, considering how many clean sheets or lack of clean sheets that they got. It was only 5 across last season total. I think he is still a respectable option, considering the fixtures for Leeds. The save percentage is about medium, really, in terms of 66.6% there, and the total saves he made were 146. So he does have the save point potential for sure. I think there was quite a lot of times where he made at least 5, 6 saves, which meant, of course, he got a few points there. Even if they conceded 4 goals, he kind of almost made up for the lack of clean sheet with the amount of saves he made. So I do think he is an individual talent, and if Leeds do look good or better as a defensive unit this season, I do think he is one to consider as well. And finally, the last person on the list here is the United goalkeeper of Dean Henderson, now being on loan at Nottingham Forest. So because he didn't play for Manchester United for the past few seasons, the statistics in front of us with him, I've had to draw from the 2019-20 season where he played and featured for Sheffield United. So he managed a total of 160 points. And to be honest with you, I can see why 7.4% of managers currently own him now he's made that move to Forest. His points per start were 4.4, so the highest that we've seen out of these comparisons. Value being at 35.6, again the highest we've seen out of these comparisons, and a total of 13 clean sheets. I think this guy is definitely a talent. He's I've been unfortunate at Manchester United to be that number 2 to David Raya, especially once De Gea, I think he had a bit of a resurgence under Solskjaer, and it meant that Henderson fell out of favour again, and he's kind of just ultimately been a bench warmer since, really, but he's a lot more talented than that. So I think he's got a deserving move and should be the starting goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest. And again, the save percentage and the total saves, although this was for a completely different team, it's worth noting they were also newly promoted in that season. So 98 saves total, 70.1% save percentage. Again, very respectable. Not the highest out of these comparisons directly, but definitely up there. The total goals conceded were 33, so there was no expected goals conceded, unfortunately, in terms of statistics for last season. 2 seasons ago. But there was, of course, the total that Sheffield United conceded. And again, it was a respectable 33 goals. So I think out of all of the options, really, that I've kind of showcased today, I think I'm still swinging towards Sanchez as the option, but I do think Henderson can also be considered. I think those fixtures do look great. Newcastle, West Ham and Everton for the first 3 fixtures do look like they have at least save point potential. I would say Newcastle and Everton maybe more so for the clean sheet. We'll have to see how West Ham get on. The Tottenham and the City game in 4 and 5 could be a little bit trickier. But again, this is a guy that only conceded 33 goals for a Sheffield United team that were newly promoted. So I think he's definitely one to watch and one to consider. I don't know if he's going to feature in any of the pre-season for Forest. I hope so. If he's looking good, if he's looking fresh, he obviously hasn't played in the Premier League in terms of minutes for quite a while. So as long as he looks fresh and he looks like he's capable of still putting in the same type of numbers he did a few seasons ago, I think he's got a point to prove as well for Gareth Southgate. Pickford didn't necessarily have the best season last season at Everton. You can see there again from the statistics that he's got essentially an 8% save percentage increase over Pickford. Pickford, I think, had 62 and he's got 70. So he's definitely, I would say, the kind of, he's got the more talent. It's just not necessarily been brought out of him because of how long he's been on the pitch for. So I think he's definitely got a point to prove with the World Cup being this year as well. Could he take Pickford away from that spot? Who knows? So I think there's a few things to consider here. It's the irony of, I suppose, of this video is that I did say in the team selection video that the goalkeeper options were not going to be an area that I spent too much time on. But here we are today after the news of David Raya potentially moving away. I thought it was worthwhile to kind of compare those 4.5 goalkeepers, and I hope you found the content useful today. So I'm going to wrap the video up there, guys, and again, thank you so much for the support. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing. Again, plenty more content to come on the channel. If you like the video, please do smash the like button on the video too. It really does help me out and help support the creation of more content for you. So yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments of who you think out of these 5 are going to make the replacement for you if you did have David Raya in the team. If you didn't have David Raya in the team, did you have any of these in your current drafts? What were the reasons for it? Do these statistics help back that up, or was it for completely different reasons that aren't listed here? Let me know your thoughts, guys. I do try to respond to pretty much every comment on the video, so it won't go unseen. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.